Coverage is what's going to be increasing, as well as some of the intensity of these rain bands. Right now, we've got a solid line out toward the hill country, and a piece of that line is eventually going to push its way into the northern parts of our viewing area. First, it's widely scattered showers that you're seeing on 13 alert radar. At times, it's going to be coming down heavy. That's going to reduce the visibilities out there on the road. So for those of you that might be traveling, let's say from Houston outbound toward the College Station area, you're going to want to build in some extra time this morning. It's going to be a rough ride heading into some of these cells where at times, as I mentioned, it may reduce the visibilities out there. You're going to want to slow down. Also indicating some light rain showers. That's when you see the reflectivity with that light shade of green. And then once you see those yellows and oranges, that's some intense bands that are coming through. And we can anticipate some of those bands to get really, really hefty, maybe even loud with some claps of thunder as we roll into later this morning into the afternoon hours, where some of that rain may be spreading into San Jacinto, Polk County, areas north of Conroe. And then we may see that boundary clip, those of you around the northern edge of Harris County. Not much activity from Houston southward, but in case the models don't pick up on the widely scattered showers or thunderstorms later on today, we're still going to keep you at about 40% chance, a 20% chance closer to the coastline. Meanwhile, the areas to our north, that's where you're going to see some of the highest rainfall totals coming up here over the next 7 days. And you can see by Saturday, that chance for rain does go up to 80%. So if you missed out yesterday and you miss out today, you got a better chance of seeing some of that rain on Saturday. And there is going to be a slight chance for some street flooding concerns for portions of southeast Texas. The further west you go, lesser chance you're going to get in on any sort of street flooding concerns. So let's time out Saturday to help you plan those maybe Easter egg hunts that might be happening early into the weekend. Saturday morning looks to be a go. Heading into the afternoon, though, that's when you're going to start to see the activity start to pick up. The intensity of those thunderstorms increase, especially north and west of Houston. But hold on, that line is going to be progressing southward into Houston between that 5 to 6 p.m. hour. Of course, this could change over the next day or so, so make sure you tune in the next couple of days, and we'll share with you whether or not we see a change in that timeline. And then the progression of those thunderstorms, as they get closer to the coastline, they start to fizzle out. Now, that boundary is going to be offshore overnight Saturday and into Sunday morning, but there's still going to be clouds over that boundary, along with some additional showers. Now, I almost changed that. I almost lowered that rain chance based on some of the models that I'm seeing this morning. I'm going to go one more day before I make any changes, and maybe our evening meteorologists are going to see the same thing I'm seeing this morning and lower that. But just know that the pattern is trending drier for us early Sunday morning. All right, live look outside, and we are starting off this morning with some overcast conditions. We need those clouds. We need that moisture to bring us that rain. What we don't need are these strong gusts. My goodness, we've been dealing with gusts anywhere between 25 to 30 miles per hour, and some of the strongest gusts from Houston southward. Pearland, you're at 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts. Temperatures are starting off very warm, very sticky out there. This afternoon, we'll manage to see those highs top out in the low to mid 80s, but guess what? That front that moves in on Saturday, it brings a nice drop in temperatures. Those temperature readings Sunday morning into the 50s, highs in the upper 60s. Some of those clouds stick around early next week, but we dry out, and we're going to keep those cooler conditions around along with that drop in humidity. It won't be until the latter part of the week where the humidity does return along with those warmer conditions, ladies. Okay, thanks for getting in on some of those raindrops this morning. Some thunder, some lightning, also a possibility. Some of the highest rainfall totals over the next 7 days will continue to be centered around the northern parts of our viewing area. No flood risk today and tomorrow, but the data is showing that some of the heavy rain on Saturday could lead to some minor street flooding concerns. So a marginal risk for any sort of street flooding, a level 1 out of 4. A low percentage, a low probability that we'll see any sort of street flooding, but it's still there. Those rain chances do climb over the weekend. As I mentioned, a strong cold front that will be arriving sometime during the evening hours. The progression of those showers and storms will first start to develop out across the northern parts of our state and then continue to slide into southeast Texas by Saturday night. For today, though, we're already starting to see the progression of some widely scattered showers. No thunder thunder or lightning with this rain, but we're going to be watching that very closely as the instability starts to increase across the area. So some pockets of heavy rain. Some of you definitely putting those windshield wipers to use this morning. Grab the umbrella. You may be dodging those downpours, especially from Houston northward. Closer to the coastline, may not get in on much of that rain. We're starting off over downtown, mostly dry but breezy conditions. At times, it will be gusty out there, anywhere from 25 to 35 mile per hour winds. Temperatures are starting off on the warm side with afternoon highs somewhere into the low to mid 80s away from the coast. So two storm systems that we're tracking. Of course, the second one drawing in the stronger of the first two fronts. The first front eventually delivering some severe weather for today. Lone Star State doesn't have to worry about the severe weather threat, but Friday, the severe weather threat does increase, especially along the Red River, portions of Oklahoma. And then for us, it's a level 1 out of 5 when we talk about the severe weather threat on Saturday, mainly in the form of some damaging winds, some very strong winds with that line. Can't rule out maybe some hail or even the possibility of some rotating storms. For today, the severe weather threat is low. Strong thunderstorms, yes, a possibility late this morning into the afternoon. Look how strong, how heavy this rain is coming in toward Interstate 10. And then a lot of that rain kind of just stays to the north. You miss out along the coastline, but it gets close enough to graze the northern parts of Harris County into the Piney Woods area. And then most of that rain is gone by the evening. As I mentioned, those temperature readings this afternoon are expected to warm into the 80s. And then looking ahead, that storm system on Saturday will be capable of seeing a strong line developing as we head into the latter part of the afternoon, evening hours in the Houston area, and then pushing southward overnight into the Gulf as we head into Sunday morning. Still about a 40% chance we might encounter some of those rain showers. So if you can hold off on any sort of Easter egg hunting festivities until the afternoon, which many of you may do so, temperature readings will be dropping off. It'll be cooler out there, breezy conditions as well, and then giving way to mostly dry conditions early next week with that cooler weather sticking around. All right.